For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
So I was looking. Should I go from the top?
I want you to, introduce the episode.
Where's Wednesday?
I know, but we just have agreed pre-show in every sense of the term that we're going back to introducing it so people feel grounded in the content, but just with no chat. So give me an intro, but no chat.
So an intro, no chat,
no chat,
at
no
all.
frills.
Okay. Not even a how'd you do?
No.
Okay.
Especially not that.
Right, okay.
That's weak.
Right.
Go.
Thanks.
Do you want me to count you in?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm going to do the 3 and the 2 out loud, and then the 1's just going to be a sign.
And
Ready?
do I go on the one or after the one?
Don't ask. 3, 2.
Hello and welcome to episode 99 of That's a Shame. Goodness me.
Sorry,
Here
that's
it
a bit of
is.
Chat at the end there. But otherwise good. Otherwise
Wasn't
good.
chat.
Straight into the
Wasn't
content.
to you.
We're doing This Week in Shame again because there's been a week and there's been all manner of shame.
Also, we haven't done it for 3 weeks.
Yeah, we missed a bunch of them, didn't we?
Yeah.
Thanks to having so much extra content.
And then I was going to do 3 weeks ago in Shame.
Yeah.
But then my laptop restarted twice.
Oh.
So I've lost all those.
Wow.
They were pretty good though.
Well, we'll
One was
never know.
about New Zealand spending $90,000 on a goat hunt that killed no goats. Their excuse was like, "What we did so well last year that they haven't come back." But they were like,
yeah.
another was about Alexa saying something like, doesn't see the point of humans.
Well, what about the story of Alexa that was out like a few months ago, where a few, like 0.2% of users were reporting that in the middle of the night she'd turn herself on and laugh.
Just laugh, yeah.
That's
that
the
was
worst thing
most
that's ever
horrible.
happened.
If your Google does that,
I'm frisbeeing it out into the street.
Frisbee yourself out.
It's horrid.
Because the Google will just come back up.
What do you think triggered it? Did they ever announce why it was?
Someone must
Was
have
it the
plugged
evil
that in.
core?
Someone must have plugged that into them.
Very, very funny and horrid.
Because we're always saying that, aren't we? Like, we'd love more instances of those little Easter eggs.
Yeah,
if you're playing, there's a non-zero chance, like with FIFA, that your character might just die on the pitch.
Or that the ground just opens up and you're just in like hell for a bit.
Yeah, well, that is a lot of my experience of playing any real games.
That's true.
We had some Mario Kart.
We did.
Shame.
Mario Kart's a great big fun.
We'll probably talk about that
On
Sunday.
On Sunday,
'cause that's
Funday.
a chat episode.
Yeah, okay.
But we got Week in Shame.
We sure do. We've collected articles each.
Yep.
We found significant overlap, as you would kind of expect. And we've agreed on, the jury has voted, much like the Cannes selection process, rather
shame
than the
of the
Palme
week.
d'Or, it's a shame of the week accolade that we're willing to hand out today.
Meshini Kiwa. So how should we start? Shall I start?
Why don't you
I'll start
just
with a
kick it right off?
I thought I'd start 2 hours ago.
Wow, okay, that's very, very on the ball.
The BBC released a list of all those earning more than £250,000 a year
In
who
their
work at the
employ.
BBC.
Yeah.
Not everyone in the world.
That's a long list of horrids.
And I've got so many issues with this list.
Okay.
Number one issue is that nearly all of them are radio DJs.
Really, that's interesting.
Like,
The easiest
who
job there is
listening
in
to
media?
the radio?
Not many people. You'd think, but actually it is everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because whenever I raise that point of like who still listens to the radio, it turns out it is
Yeah,
everyone.
just not us.
Apparently not, because I've replaced radio with podcasts because you
Yeah.
can just be more selective about not having to listen to Chris Evans waffle on about that Radio 1 goat. That my
Who's
girlfriend
that?
told us
Sorry?
about. Is it Chris Evans, very, very wealthy on the list, man?
Chris Evans, number 2 on the list.
Really?
He was number 1 last year, but because he doesn't present Top Gear anymore, because he's shit,
Oh, because he was so very bad at
Yeah.
that show about cars.
which you'd think would be hard to be bad at.
You would.
Yeah, he's sadly only now on 1.7 million
Oh,
year.
Chris, how is he? Do we need to start
for his
a
Radio
GoFundMe?
2 breakfast show. I think so.
That's
How can
so bad, isn't it?
Because like that money from the Big Breakfast, that can't still be rolling in. That's
No, I
surely
don't
not being
think you
syndicated anywhere.
No, and even if it were, I think you'd try and like keep that royalty check as far away from your house as possible,
Yeah.
out of a sense of shame.
Thankfully, he has been overtaken by Gary Lineker
Yeah,
for presenting Match of the Day and Sports
I
Personality
can get
of
on
the Year.
board with Gary Lineker, although it's not like he needs the money, having been a professional footballer, and also because he invented Walker's Crisps as well. That's a great way to spin a dollar.
Sorry, I've got a weird text from someone I don't. Sorry, we should keep this up.
What?
Keep this bit in.
Why?
This weird text I've got is from my sister,
Okay.
and it has maybe replaced Shame of the Week.
Okay.
She's walking home.
Yep.
Today, Wednesday, the day of England's semi-final.
Yep.
On my way home, actually just saw someone wearing a white T-shirt with 3 lion bars taped to it.
Wow. That's innovative, though. That's the Dunkirk spirit. I think that's what
Yeah,
that refers
exactly. So yeah, Gary's at the top, like close to 1.8.
I've got a quick question about
Okay.
the list, and I haven't seen it yet. So this is just speculation, and do shoot me down if I'm being cynical
look.
or perhaps bigoted.
You're not going
Is
to
it-
suggest that it's
is it all men?
mostly. Oh,
No.
no.
a check.
There are two women
Wow. Out of how many total?
out of.
Lots.
Let's see. We've got
Is it approximately a lot of them?
22
Okay.
people.
Wow. So that's, and I don't know a lot about like the demographics of the UK, but is that roughly equalised? So there are like maybe for every 20 men, there are 2 women in the country.
No, it would be almost the opposite of that.
Oh, right.
That it's 50-50.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I think
Is that
it's
the opposite
51-49 in favour of women.
Okay.
Um,
That's weird then, isn't it?
who are the 2 women?
Claire Balding.
Nope.
I've absolutely no idea. It's going to be DJs, surely. Is it like
one
Alice
is-
Levine?
No. Oh, no. Much worse.
I don't know any other
Well,
DJs.
Claudia Winkleman.
Okay.
And we'll be doing a little bit more about Claudia Winkleman in an upcoming episode.
Will we now?
Oh, we will.
Okay.
Oh, we've got some Claudia Winkleman material
Good.
coming right our way. And Vanessa Feltz,
She's not on anything, is she?
Radio 2 and Radio London.
It's like they just have, I don't know, some sort of automated system where, like, when the country tires of someone, they hide them away on a radio
They
station.
just put them in a booth. I
that
don't think
one,
they're allowed
No
out.
one, like, if you surveyed 100,000 people, they would all say, no, I promise I don't listen to Vanessa Feltz on
Yeah.
Radio 2.
No,
Hand on heart.
Literally no
And
one.
yet, so many people must be.
I know. I think that must be why someone like John Humphreys on £410,000 a year is maybe so perennially angry
Yeah.
because he's just stuck in that room
just wishes
screaming
he
for a
could.
way out.
Yeah, he could interview a different psychic every day
Yeah.
on Radio X.
Annoyed at Chris Evans being there. Now, some I feel they've cheated with because some stars are no longer on the list.
Okay.
But that's only because the show that they're part of is made by BBC Studios.
Oh, that does sound fair. And
It does sound like not the exact same company. So yeah, Matt Baker off of the One Show, not exactly BBC flagship.
Oh no, it's very.
Oh
big.
no, that's
Yeah.
the one. It's literally named after them, isn't it? The One Show is the worst thing on television.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it might be quite bad.
I mean, I'm no big Salman Rushdie fan, but he is an award-winning author,
Yeah.
universally renowned.
Yeah.
And when they got him on, they had him answering which do you prefer questions while playing table tennis against a machine.
Against the machine.
Yeah,
as
it was
well.
just popping.
That sounds like it's like a
ping pong
very,
balls out.
very high level bit of satire that,
That
we
just
don't
none of us have.
understand yet.
That Matt Baker's
Yeah,
just
just
launched
cackling
onto
away.
us. Yeah.
That's lovely. It says a lot about something. We
Yeah.
just don't know quite what.
So what we've gleaned from the list is that the amount of money that you earn
Yeah.
is
It's
in no
directly
way
proportional with your
commensurate
talent.
to the talent that you have, the job that you do, or your popularity. Because, I mean, who the fuck is Eddie Mayer?
Oh, I don't know, I'm afraid.
Well, he presents Radio 4pm programme.
Go on, he makes loads of money on Radio 4 even.
£330,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's niche.
that's madness.
Good on him.
Poor old George Alagayas sat not even on 300 grand.
How's he
And he
making
presents-
ends meet?
And he presents the news at
And
10.
he's a national icon, Alagaya.
Have you seen that Hugh Edwards
Oh yeah.
is now what people are calling an Instagram thirst account.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's
amazing.
absolute madness. The man's posing topless. He's
It's amazing.
surfing.
Good on
What a
him,
hero.
Hugh. It's good that he waited until he was almost dead to start doing that. Right, I'm going to hit you with my first shame of the week.
Okay.
And it's, there's not a lot of depth to it, but I think the idea of it is just sells it enough for me. Quite a few of mine are just headline based.
They're all great.
It's from the AV Club, picking up on a story for the Maryland paper called The Marshall Project. Actually, no, I think The Marshall Project is like a collection of articles from inmates.
Yeah.
Prison bans the Game of Thrones book because inmates might do something with all of those maps. This is by William Hughes. George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire books are a little grim as far as pure escapism goes, but that hasn't stopped at least one Maryland prison. Maryland, did we go with?
Maryland, yeah.
Yeah, from banning them on the... I've been there. On the grounds that their contents qualify as potential tools for escape. Per a recent piece of the Marshall Project, courtesy of Correctional Institute resident Kimberly Hricko, Martin's books have been banned from ownership because they contain maps, regardless of whether they're depicting like actual areas or
Well,
fake
not
ones.
regardless. In
No,
spite
no,
of the
it's,
fact.
it's a full ban on maps of any sort.
So there's
Send-
no maps
You
in
can't
prison.
send any map of any kind.
There's no atlases in prison.
Here's hoping not. There is as well in this article a list of other mad things that have been banned, of which my favourite of three are greeting cards, just because it seems like the most obvious thing to kind of send to someone. It's like your first port of call.
Yeah.
I'll send them like a hope you get out of prison soon card.
Yeah.
As I think they sell in all good retailers. They stopped a seed being sent in from the Arbor Day Foundation, like a tree seed, because, quote, trees are contraband. It's about the fact that you couldn't.
What do you mean trees
You
are
couldn't grow
contraband?
it from a seed. Like a seed isn't a tree. I think she
No.
was making some interesting tangential pro-life argument through the tree medium. And then my absolute favourite one is pictures of alcohol.
Why?
Just in
For what
case you get the
purpose?
wrong ideas.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean it's a shame, isn't it? And it's
And are these, were these, like, publicly owned
prisons. Oh, I can only assume because it's America and they're like
Yeah, they
they're
don't-
very forward thinking. with
Yeah,
their
it's
prison
a
system.
small business.
and it's if anything,
State-run.
it's like a not-for-profit, which is at the
That,
heart.
those are good. It's like
Yeah.
pro bono prisons. Is
yeah,
that
that's
PBPs.
That's what they call them
Yeah.
internally in some of the leaked memos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a shame.
I just will never understand the people who like decide these things. Like, I'd love someone to sit down and explain to me what possible danger a map of fucking Mordor is going to do to
Well,
anyone.
you know, once they get a sense of direction within like Middle Earth, it's only a matter of time before they start working out like a Prison Break-esque.
Oh yeah, it's probably because
tattoo
they've
it
got
on
that
yourself.
compass drawn in the top.
And because
They
it always
point
points north, doesn't it?
Even when it's
Especially
printed
when it's
in a book.
printed in
Yeah.
paper books.
That is such. I mean, pictures of alcohol as well.
There's a story someone tells in stand-up, I think it's Russell Brand, about how like one of their producers was detained because his t-shirt had a picture of a gun on it when flying into America. It was like, well, what possible reason?
It's the most pro-gun country in the
Yeah.
world. Why are you being stopped?
Not at the airports. They can't have all those pictures
No, not
floating about.
unless people.
Well, exactly.
Well, yeah.
You don't
They
even
don't-
need to
and I
say
don't
what
need to
they
finish
could
the
do
end of the
because
sentence.
It's almost too obvious.
Mine's another one from my next one from quite recently.
Okay.
From today, even.
That's good to know.
And I got this from the very front page of Reddit.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah. Here's the headline: Fox News politics editor: Trump will quote defecate all over everything, end quote, in Europe.
All over everything.
All over
Oh,
everything.
Can he not?
Yep. So
Is that
that's it.
starting because his trip's begun, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's in Brussels
And
at
so
the moment.
are we to believe that the excretion process
Absolutely, it's heavily
exploded
underway.
into life?
Yeah.
Because after the plane,
The NATO
ate
summit.
something, it will have unsettled his
Fucked.
stomach.
Yeah. He had that curry
Interesting.
like you did. Here's
What's the angle?
So, Fox News political editor Chris Steiwalt had a colourful way of describing President Donald Trump's trip to Europe this week. Steiwalt told anchor Shannon Bream
Good.
That Republicans in the US Senate, quote, will not stop Donald Trump from undermining NATO, nor will they be able to prevent the president, quote, from realigning US foreign policy to be more favourable towards Russia. He's going to do it, Stywart predicted. In comments posted on Mediate, he said, and the Republicans who say, well, we have a broad foreign policy apparatus and we forced him to impose these sanctions and we forced him to do these things. He's going to fly into Brussels like a seagull. He's going to defecate.
Like a seagull?
He's going to defecate all over everything, squawk and fly away is what he's going to do in Brussels.
Person's confused.
And the Europeans are going to continue to say to each other, we don't have a reliable partner in the US government right now.
Because it's a seagull. I think he took that metaphor too far.
Literally.
There's no reason for him to squawk.
He just read Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner and he was like, this
So
I'll tell you on
applicable.
bird imagery, it's just powerful as heck.
That's horrible.
What I liked as well was they there's a video attached to the article.
Is it an animation?
No, thankfully
An
not.
artist's
One of those like
conception
weird
of what-
3D ones they do, like when they did the one of Tiger Woods' golf crash.
Very upsetting.
There's a video attached to it, and it's from the Fox News show on which he said this. But thankfully and helpfully, the video is an hour long. It's just of the whole episode of the show
that is
rather than
good.
singling down that moment. But I just flicked through to see if I could find it, and I couldn't. But there was a beautiful moment where Shannon Abream, she was talking about, and this has already elicited some negative feedback from Europe. And it cut to Donald Tusk giving a little press conference. And the whole setup implied that it was going to show us some of his thoughts. And instead, he just went, Donald Trump should be careful when dealing with his allies because he doesn't have many. And then they just cut it, and that was it. And then they just go straight back to the studio.
Brutal.
It's mad. Fox News, like, I don't know how anyone manages to watch even 1 minute of it without having an epileptic fit.
Whenever I'm in the States, I have it on all the time because it's like a parallel universe is imploding into your living room. It's really quite special.
It's just like, I can't deal with all the colours.
It is so
And
colourful.
flashing lights
and just like the fonts
animations.
and
Yeah.
everything, like just the intros to things. It's all like this hypersexual, weird, like they're trying to sell us on the concept of news.
Well, they
which
are,
really
aren't they?
should
Yeah.
sell itself. It being the news.
Hit us with another.
That's unfortunate. What about Trump on Friday coming to the old London town? What are you going to do about it, hey?
I'll probably head down to
Yeah, I'm going to head down
some
to
of
the
the
old
protests.
Got any good slogans in mind? Like, oh, go away.
Donald Trump, more like, not very good.
Oh! Fuck, no, don't. That's a bit much. That's a fatality.
Yeah, I want to go and see that big balloon.
Yeah. It's not that big, that balloon.
No.
I've been a bit disappointed to see it compared to other things that
Yeah.
are bigger than it, like the Eiffel Tower, God, freedom as a concept.
But yeah,
But
and
it's a
then
good balloon.
but we're going to have a little protest and then off to see The Incredibles 2. What a good
The
day.
ultimate protest, really.
Yeah.
Because we're like, art will prevail. It's like we can, at the once, with one hand, we stick the middle finger up at a horrible racist Donald Trump. And then in the other hand, we're embracing American
Popcorn.
media
Yeah,
interest.
exactly.
And saying, look, there's good and bad, even as we sit.
Hit us with number 4.
Burglar calls police for help after breaking into escape room in Washington state, getting trapped. Now, you've been in escape rooms, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
Did you feel the urge to involve the authorities at any point during the proceedings?
Only twice.
Right, and what were those times? One with that crook that wouldn't go into the drawer.
That was definitely one I wanted.
episode a while ago. It's called
Cool Hand Lucas. I think it's like 24.
I would have
is
guessed
it?
20-something, yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to call the police on that because we were clearly right.
Yeah.
It was an injustice.
Yeah, it was.
And the only other time that I wanted to call the authorities was to turn myself in when I put all those gold coins in the post box.
God,
And then-
remember how that helped us solve
Then
it?
got the little dong for you're doing something wrong.
The subsidiary shame in this case is how irritatingly the article's written. And it's from I don't even know what this is, KTLA5 morning, some sort of bullshit. paper. Generally, you're supposed to break out of an escape room, not into one. But in Vancouver, Washington, a man had to call the police for help after he broke into NW Escape Experience and couldn't get out. Here are some quotes. Once we got down there to the business and realised the damage was minimal, we just thought it was hilarious, owner Rob Bertrand told CNN Tuesday. CNN Tuesday seems to be the name of it.
Yeah.
Because there's no just extra prepositions or anything there. Then they talk a bit about escape rooms as if you're new to the world for about 8 paragraphs.
As if you don't know what the words escape and
Yeah,
room mean.
so a room is, it's one of those big wall enclosed spaces.
With a roof.
That's an important aspect. But then, you've been in rooms without roofs, surely. Because what about a big skylight or a conservatory?
Conservatories still have
They can
roofs.
open up sometimes.
Yeah, but they still have a
So
roof.
it's the potential for roofing,
Yeah.
rather than a roof there at all times.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. When he got in, he just kind of made himself at home, Bertrand said. He actually stole 1 beer from the refrigerator. The police say he also had a burrito. Imagine that being new.
But we don't believe them.
Yeah. We assume he was going to have a nice warm breakfast, he added. In addition to the beer, the man also stole a cell phone and a TV remote.
Oh, wow.
He tried to get out the back door, but he damaged it so badly getting in he couldn't get out. He calls 911 from the front desk, and a police officer does arrive, and then obviously just immediately arrests him, of course.
Yeah.
Because what else was going to happen? He was inside the business, this article annoyingly continues, for at least 35 minutes. That beats many people who attempt escape rooms. Visitors usually spend an average of 58 minutes trying to get out. The record is about 33 minutes. However, Bertrand said the suspect's time won't count. He did call 911. That's not a win. He quit, Bertrand said.
That's not a win.
We're going to start claiming that we're the only escape room in the nation that has a 100% capture rate for criminals, he concluded.
That's quite good. I like that.
This one, I found another article that had no content. I was looking at a local paper in Kent, and because their target audience must literally be 4 people.
Yeah.
Because anyone who wants those local news things there's no overlap between people who want that news and understand what a computer is.
No.
So no one's going on the site apart from me.
Yeah.
Their headline was, "A crash happened on the A2." That was it. And then you click it, and the first line was, "There was a crash on the A2. More to follow." It was a month old.
More to follow. Turned out that was all we had, really.
There's just no more
There
news.
wasn't anything else. There was
just
just
so-
a crash on the A2.
Such a sad, defeating
dear.
little, nonsense. Hit us with number 2. 3.
Well, 5 technically overall. This is my last one before we go on to Shame of the Week.
Okay.
Florida DUI suspect claims dog was driving car, not him.
That's fine then.
Yeah.
You can't do him for that, can you? I don't know of a single law that says a dog can't drive.
I'm afraid. I think you'll be disappointed.
Point me to the law.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll try and
Go on.
get it up for you.
Go on.
I like this opening line. It's a very short article.
Well, the title says it all,
Yeah,
really, isn't it?
but a Florida man has raised the bar when it comes to the old "the dog ate my homework" excuse. Scott Garrett was pulled over for driving erratically on I-95 outside Port St. Lucie last month, according to a website called The Smoking Gun.
Wow.
When officers detected the smell of alcohol coming from the car, Garrett claimed he wasn't driving the car. His dog was. Then I love the next 2 sentences for so many reasons.
Okay.
However,
Good
the
start.
excuse didn't fool anyone,
No.
as his, quote, red, very glassy and bloodshot eyes and the bottle of alcohol in the passenger seat pretty gave him away.
Pretty gave him away. That's
Oh, and there was no dog in the car.
Wow. I was going to make a joke about that, but that's the case.
Yep, it was
He
the
said
case.
his dog was driving, his dog was at home. Does he have a
Not
dog?
driving, yeah.
A real journalist would have investigated what sort of dog he has. They
Yeah.
would have been taking the measurements from the dog's wingspan to be like, can it articulate its
Could
shoulder
it
up?
genuinely have done this? Can it drive the car remotely from home?
Oh,
he didn't
that's
say the dog was in the car.
Yeah, it could be like one of those new cars that you can drive
Yeah.
remotely.
What I like as well is that the excuse didn't fool anyone because he was clearly drunk. Not the excuse didn't fool anyone because dogs can't drive cars.
No, but I mean, that we can't be prejudiced against dogs in that way because they're a clever bunch, aren't they?
Garrett asked officers for a ride home. Instead, they gave him a ride to jail,
That's a thing,
where
isn't
he
it?
was charged with drunk driving. Now, I also want to conclude by showing you the little artwork that comes
Oh,
with
they've
the
done
little
it.
image that comes with this
Okay.
article. And I mean, if we can,
Yeah.
this definitely should be the cover art for this
Okay.
episode, at the very least. Here it is.
Oh, it's,
Would you
well,
like to describe?
It's a man who, I'll be honest, I'll just say looks exactly as you'd expect for Florida man arrested for this exact crime. And then they've weirdly kind of taken his mugshot and put, that's like 2/3 of the frame, but then driving over it from the diagonal right, hitting a really cool kind of swerve, is a dog driving Grease Lightning itself
Yeah.
from Greece. And it's quite... Is it wearing a jacket as
It's
well?
wearing a driving jacket. You are correct. Yeah.
God, what a handsome beast.
Yeah.
for everyone.
If that dog were driving, I'd sooner pull him over than the dog.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had a lot of gravitas about it, and it just gave the sense that it knew what it was doing.
Yeah.
Probably passed its first time.
Definitely.
I'd have thought. No minors?
No, not at
No,
all.
I wouldn't have thought so. Here's a bit of concluding shame for me. Well, actually, let me just see if I had one more as well. Nah, that one's fine. The article itself is not the shame. The shame is 200 years previous to it. This is potentially the conclusion of a shame that I've been aware of personally
For 200 years.
No, for about 18 years.
Right.
And I've seen this. I'll stop being mysterious about it, but I've been to the place where this shame exists maybe 8 times over the last 18
Right.
years. And every time I've gone in the intervening period, it stuck with me that this was a singularly horrid thing to have happened. The context is there's a museum in London called the Hunterian. Have you ever been?
No.
It's part of the Royal College of Surgeons. And I first went when I was quite young. And I think it might have informed some aspects of my personality in that it's a horrid, here's a deformed thing in a jar.
Oh, right.
And it's
Oh, I
just
would like to go
hundreds
there.
of aisles
Yeah,
of that.
okay
Well,
then.
I'm afraid it's going to be shut for the next 3 years. So sorry about that.
No.
That's not the shame though. And it has all kinds of like, here's a skeleton with some particular deformity. Here's like a crab with 400 legs. It's all very odd, quite unsettling, and presented with no,
Purpose.
well, sort of, but also with no like vision. Because a lot of museums in London, like London museums are very good and they're good at kind of appealing to all ages. There'll be like an interactive bit.
Yeah.
This is just like you've wandered into the dusty lab of a fucking mental case.
Right.
And this is what he's got there. So it freaked me out a lot the first time I went, but then I was like caught by it. And perhaps you could trace a through line from that to reading 85 pages of Petscott material.
Okay,
In
yeah.
an hour.
Yeah, I
And
think you
similar
probably
thing.
could.
Now, one of the big, and I use the term literally, exhibits there is of an Irish guy called Charles Byrne, who died in the 18th century, and he had gigantism, and they have had his skeleton on display somewhere at the Royal College of Surgeons pretty much since he died. But next to it is, or kind of inside the case, I'll give you some facts about him first. The skeleton belongs to Charles Byrne, who was born in Ireland in the 18th century and had gigantism, a condition of excessive size caused by an imbalance of growth hormones. He stood at over 7 feet 7 inches tall, which is 2.3 meters-ish. Of course, back in those days, the condition wasn't medically understood as it is now. Thomas Munzer, a professor at the University of Stirling, said, he was simply a giant. And there are all sorts of folkloric attributions attached to him. But here's the sad thing. So he died in 1783 at the age of 22 years old.
Yep.
Before he died, he wrote this sort of like letter / as I remember, there's like a poem part to it, to his friends saying, all I want when I die is to be buried at sea. I don't want specifically
Don't want to be
in a
a
museum,
museum, yeah.
forever as some kind of freak. And they have that. They have the gall to display this giant man's skeleton right
I
next
knew that's
to the
what it was
note
gonna be.
that says,
Don't-
keep me the fuck out.
Don't give me to those bastard doctors.
Before they could bury him, a dodgy undertaker, which is 2 words that should never be in that close
And yet
proximity,
always are.
in the pay of a surgeon, successfully, get this, it's like Ocean's 11, switched the corpse of Charles with dead weight. No pun intended. The surgeon who acquired his body was a Scottish anatomist called John Hunter, and it's his entire collection that forms the Hunterian Museum of Anatomical Specimens. In effect, the remains of Charles Byrne are now on display publicly in the Memorial Museum to the very person who stole his remains. There's a perverse irony there, and it's quite tragic! ! Munzer said. So the museum, this article says, is about to shut for 3 years for some kind of like refurbishment, or they're like readdressing all the ethics surrounding everything that's there. All these like fetuses that didn't make it to being born, that are just kind of displayed there for no real reason. And apparently there is a big like lobbying campaign called the Free Charles Byrne Project, which
To throw those bones into the sea.
I do take issue with the word free of a skeleton a little bit, because it's, you know, it's not quite freeing him and it doesn't quite overwrite
Liberate those bones.
centuries. And also, like, so it seems like they're most likely going to bury him now. But there's a guy who just casually announces that they've had a total DNA record of the skeleton and could make a replica for about 15 years. But they were just like, might as well hold on to it for a bit anyway. Maybe let's make the thing bigger where he says he doesn't want to be here at all. So that's, you know, there's a shame and also a triumph.
Oh, that is a nice
Charles
way
Burns'
to...
skeleton can go to the sea where it wanted.
Thank
Maybe we
God.
can go and visit it.
Yeah, at the bottom of
A big
sea.
dive.
Oh, I'd like
A
that.
great big dive. Get Elon Musk
A
submarine
giant
going.
dive.
Nice. But that's also very offensive because he
Offensive,
said, I don't want to be called a giant. I want to be called a small man, if anything. I want to be called
a
petite.
dwarf.
He said in his will he wants to be one of those mannequins in M&S in the children's wear
Oh,
section.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad.
With a little Minions t-shirt draped over his enormous skull.
He was a dreamer.
Yeah.
A moderate dreamer. Let's move over to the shame of the week.
Are we going to have a new
Sock.
jingle?
Yeah, it's going to be now.
It's time, now it's time for the game of the week.
I liked our Disney jingle from last Wednesday's episode.
What was
Very good.
Oh, where it was no.
Yeah.
Because I was listening back and I was like,
Oh, yeah, we
it's like midnight.
completely forgot.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing this now.
Yeah, so shame of the week.
Yeah. Why don't we do a word each of the headline?
Okay.
PayPal
Told
customer
her
death.
breached
It's
rules.
This is from the BBC.
PayPal told customer her death breached its rules.
Go on, give us some immediate. What's your gut check on this? How does it
My
make you feel?
immediate instant reaction to this was that it is maybe the most singularly evocative and really just picturesque example of everything wrong with capitalism as an idea.
Oh yeah,
That
it's great that it's PayPal.
that in the bank app on your phone told you you're not allowed to die. That's it.
Yeah.
That you owed it money, so you're not allowed to die.
It's pretty stringent.
You know, it's not like, oh, you know, you still owed us this money, you know, it doesn't get wiped just because you've died. To say, no, this is a breach of contract.
How do you feel about this though? Because the firm has since acknowledged that the letter was quite insensitive, and they've apologised.
And they've wiped the debt.
That's so good of them. Isn't
But
it?
at the
Was it a
same
lot
time-
of debt? Do you know,
It wasn't that much at all.
£3,200. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's-
but that's probably put a big dent in
well, that's probably
PayPal's-
most of what they had at the time.
Yeah, so they're starting from scratch again. That's probably why mine wasn't working the other day.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much here.
Can we read the bit with the letter? It
yes,
was
of
headlined,
course.
"Important. You should read this notice carefully." Addressed to her in name, specifically. It said that Mrs. Dale owed the company about £3,200 and went on to say, quote, "You're in breach of condition 15.4 bracket C of your agreement with PayPal Credit, as we have received notice that you are deceased. We have received notice
that you are deceased. This
dot.
breach is not capable of remedy." What?
That's death for you.
That's the grimmest, like most bureaucratic, administrative explanation of mortality ever that this breach is not capable of remedy. Like, that's Petscop-esque.
Yeah.
That's like something you'd read on one of the little notes or something.
It's like a kind of beyond satire
Yeah.
view of
And as you
corporate machines.
and as you say, to address the letter to the person about whom the complaint is, they are dead.
Yeah. Come on, pull yourself together.
Give us the $1.
Yeah. Big shame, that's for sure. It's a shame as well that he hasn't sued them into the ground, which
Yeah.
I think would be my approach. What about where they said there are 3 possible explanations? Let's see which one you think it might be.
Okay.
A bug.
Yeah. Okay.
That
one
one's
of those
quite specific, isn't it?
one of those bugs that writes a very specific pointed letter.
At one person
Yeah.
who is dead. Yeah. A bad letter template.
Well, has everyone else received?
Have you not had your
No, I haven't had my
you're
complaint
dead,
of
give
death.
us
No,
cash.
and I have faked my death to
several
avoid PayPal.
times? Yeah. Human error. is that
Oh
what
no, now that one does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? There.
In a way it does, but in another way, I don't really believe a
don't believe
single
it to be
human
error.
has interacted with PayPal's fundamental operations for decades. It must be sentient at the very least.
Oh yeah, possibly. I don't believe. I believe it's human, but I don't believe it's error. I think it's just
Human.
human
Apathy.
cuntishness. Like someone I think definitely approved this letter and this idea going
Oh
forward.
God, I didn't read this bit either. He added, "This
Yeah.
is the husband."
Oh, yeah.
He'd been assured that whatever the cause, it would be addressed. Although PayPal had told him it would not be able to share the information because it was, quote, an internal matter.
That very much affected external people.
Yeah, external grieving people.
I just what this brought up for me as well is something that I think we've mentioned before, but that as you know, we move more and more of our lives into the technological, and as more and more of the technological is owned by the corporate,
Yeah.
that when you die, there's just so much hassle to just, have your stuff. Like, what about all of the, billions and billions of dead Facebook accounts?
I know. There's a website that catalogues people who are known to have died on Facebook and just sort of posts a slideshow of their faces. You're like, oh, they're all dead.
That's good. Nice
Dead
to know.
Facebook.
People we lost this year.
Yeah.
What happens to all of your tweets and
it's-
all of my,
It's not like you have to have a lot of assets anymore for that to be so complicated. Like if an average person died 50 years ago, they'd be like, oh, you can have my books, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's a house involved, my 2 kids get half of it each or whatever. But now someone as average as like us, if I just vanished, think of how long you would spend trying to get into paying our gas,
hell.
rewriting the tenancy agreement, having like all just the internet bills. You'd have to talk to every company under the sun.
Just trying to put out an episode of the podcast would be hard enough.
Yeah. And I hate as well the concepts of like the dead man's switch, where you put in like a contact in Gmail. It's like, if I haven't logged in for 6 months, just send it all over there.
Just erase
It's such
everything.
a depressingly like morbid structure
Yeah.
to be in place, and yet so kind of essential. Although I think it's probably best that our emails die with us.
Definitely. our Facebook
Possibly
chats
before.
just absolutely vanish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of depressing. You've brought us down with that shame of the week that we both chose. Would you like to remedy that with maybe an optimistic quote? Thought of anything positive recently? Is
Although
it coming
we
home?
all die.
Yeah. Oh, it's
No, that was it. That's
Well,
the end of the quote.
There you go.
No, although we all die,
Yeah.
so does everything else. So it's
So it's
all
Hakuna
right.
Matata, really.
Yeah, it's all that big system.
Yeah. What is it? The
Circle of
sphere of existence, something like that.
Circle of
No, that's
circle of-
too obvious.
triangle.
The triangle of keep going on. That was the original.
There
Elton
you
John
go. It's
draft.
basically the water cycle, but with life.
Yeah. Yeah, and therefore,
They probably got a name for it,
what's
but
the rain equivalent of the life water cycle? because that's the only bit I was ever interested in.
What do you mean?
Well, the rain is a big part of the water cycle.
Yeah.
How's that? What's the analogue to that in the life cycle that you're suggesting?
Oh, that's where
the baby's
you die
dropped
and
by
you,
the stalk.
No, that's where you die and you go back to the sea.
Right. Back to the sea.
Well,
I
the
didn't
rain
come from
goes back to the sea. We go back to the earth. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust,
Earth is the dry sea.
dirt to dirt.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I think that's given us a lot of pause and a lot of perspective here, and that's a shame.
There you go.
And that's really what we'd need as we move towards a milestone of our own.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd like to set up your PayPal to send us anything you've got when you die,
Yep.
then
That's
we've
fine.
probably got an account to send that to.
Yeah, that's Isaac at justme.biz. Go ahead.
The week in the Shem.
It's episode 99 now. That's a number that is pregnant with congratulation, with imminent achievement. And tell us, Declan, how it's going to manifest itself.
Well, this Sunday,
Yeah.
as you all know, if you have even the most cursory relationship with mathematics,
Yeah.
next episode's the 100. 100
The centennial.
official episodes of That's a Shame
That's nuts.
podcast.
Crazy.
Imagine, I don't think we'd have got here if the Twitter handle was That's a Shame Pod.
Oh no, it would have been shut down by every authority under the sun.
Yep, that at Jack
Famously,
been right over.
apathetic to racist at Jack would have slithered out of his
Apathetic
hovel.
to racists, but if anything, overthetic to
Shame
pods.
Yeah.
But no, here we are.
Yeah.
We've made it to the 100,
Quite
and
the
let
journey.
me tell you, it's going to be such a bumper fucking episode.
You won't know what to do with yourselves.
We've got so much planned. We spent all of the time since last episode,
Yeah.
where we admitted we didn't have much,
Yeah.
but we spent all that time planning. We've got some big features.
We've hired some outside, like party planning people who specialise in audio to kind of give their feedback.
And we've got guests. We've got features. We've got
Balloons.
real, like, personal, touching monologues.
Party bags.
All of that
Yeah.
is coming your way this Sunday. Do not miss it. Biggest episode of That's a Shame ever.
Be there, be square. They're your options.
That's it.
And I'm going for option fun.
Option fun.
This has been That's a Shame. You can get in touch, tass@shame.city, at That's a Shamecast, at IsaacBD, at Dedelaine, D-E Delane. We've got a Patreon, don't we?
Patreon.com/ShameCity.
Why not head over there? And, you too could be involved in a fiduciary sense with all that goes on here. Until the big 100 #TripDig bonanza. I've been Isaac. You've been.
I've been Declan.
We'll see you next century.
Bye, guys.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.